My name is Sophia Rose. This is my show, Walk Beside Me, at Oric Gallery. I first just want to say a big thank you to Abby and Gundy for giving me the opportunity to create this body of work. It's a very special show for me, and so I'm really honored that it's exhibiting here this month. A little bit about me. I have been painting since really COVID, as that's when I started painting seriously. I've been an artist my whole life. My parents were both artists. My parents were both artists and encouraged me to paint, draw, anything, including art from a very early age. Um, but I never really considered it a career path for me and went to explore other options, but came back to it when I was locked up with nothing else to do and have been doing nothing else for it ever since. Um, this show specifically touches on a very personal event for me. My mom died when I was 11, and I carried that weight with me for a long time without really processing it. And I think about her all the time, still do 15 years later. And so this show is kind of an exploration into those feelings and into how much I repressed it for so long. So that's why a lot of these people, especially this piece here, Don't Ask Me to Smile, is how I felt a lot of the time with my grief, kind of putting on a show when I didn't really want to smile. This big point of inspiration for me in this show was a book that actually helped me through a lot of my grief called Grief is a Thing with Feathers. It's a book of poetry by Max Porter, where grief is personified as a crow. And so I kind of carried that idea over to this show. Crows are a very big motif in the show, and even the piece with the hand, one day I will stop finding our hairs. That's actually an exact quote from one of the poems, because that was just a very strong image that always stuck in my head. Was no longer finding the hair of somebody that you love that isn't really here anymore. And then a lot of these pieces just have very personal meanings to me, like this piece, The Visitor. Monarch butterflies are often seen as as our ancestors or our loved ones coming to visit us. And so that's kind of what that felt like to me. Anytime I'd see a butterfly, I'd think of my mom, and think that she's just coming here to say that she loves me and that I'm doing okay. And so that's really what that piece means to me. My favorite piece in the show is probably Omen, the one that's right behind me. That's actually the first time I ever painted my mom. Like I said, I didn't really assess my feelings of losing my mom for a long time. And so that piece, it was really nice to get to look through pictures of her again and to really, remember how beautiful she was. And, that was really one of my favorite and hardest pieces to work on in this whole show. But I really love the way that it turned out. And it's a very good piece to remember my mom by, for sure. So yes, I wanted to use blue and red specifically for this show. It's actually the first time I've done an entire show in just one color palette. I usually kind of go a little bit wacky with the colors. But for this show, red and blue both have very specific meanings that can also change depending on the context that you're using the color in. Red most commonly is associated with love and passion, but it's also anger and violence. Blue is, kind of on that same coin, is, comfort and sadness, but it's also, trust, and, sometimes it's also loyalty. And I wanted to explore how those colors can enhance the feelings in each piece. Blue is, I feel like I more commonly used it as, blue is the sadness, red is the love, and that's kind of shining through. But it's also, sometimes you're the love and the sadness is encroaching on you. And so, it's kind of exploring that relationship between the colors. Um, and I feel like they both lend very well to the idea of grief as well. Oh, actually, I did want to talk about this piece. This piece here, Memento, um, is actually one that was inspired by lunchbox notes that my mom would write me. I actually had one saved for a long time. I wasn't able to find it for it to be the reference in this painting, so I actually created one of my own. Um, but I had saved it, in a box for all these years, just because it would always help me remember her, and how much she would put effort into just making me lunch in the morning. So that's a very special piece to me. Thank you. Yeah, I don't think there's anything else I really wanted to say.